Indeed, at the Serena conference, Commissioner Nyang'aya, you are the one who averred that you have worked so well until this morning. And therefore, if you had worked so well and you are receiving results, you are being verified, and we are all in Bomas. I was in Bomas myself. The whole floor of Bomas, that is the exercise that was going on, of receiving, verifying, that verification being done even by party agents, including our own party agents, who unfortunately on the fateful Friday when there was violence here, you saw even their gadgets being stolen on the floor, in the full glare of the media. So, until the day you went to Serena, everything, in your own words, seemed to be okay and you're working so well. Two, you have said that the commissioners, and even in your presentation, Commissioner Anderi, you said you did not, the commissioners never verified he was chairman and a group he had selected. I would want to know, in your own understanding, if the commissioners are to verify, did you logically and with all practicality expect that from the 40-something thousand forms coming into Bomas, 7 of you were expected to verify and tally yourself, 7 of you, and that question had been asked by Senator Omar earlier. And in all previous elections, you may not have benefited from conducting another election, but at least 3 of the other commissioners had conducted another election before you. Did you logically expect that 7 of you would sit somewhere, tally all the forms? You have also said you had never seen any of the Form 34As, 34Cs. They are all on the portal, IEBC portal. And I respectfully heard what my senior counsel, His Excellency Kalonzo, said in terms of publishing election results. But if you read the Elections Act that was guiding your work as commissioners, I think it's section 39(1)(c) of the Elections Act, says that determination and declaration of results, the commission shall determine, declare, and publish the results of an election immediately after the close of polling. And 1C says, for purposes of a presidential election, the commission shall publish the polling result forms on an online portal maintained by the commission. And I believe that was done. So I want to disabuse the notion that it has to be necessarily in the Kenya Gazette. The law is very clear that even on the online portal where all those forms were published, did you, as the 4 commissioners, the Cherera 4, Christian Cherera 4, attempt then to even tally? Because it doesn't mean that if Chebukati said you do not tally and the results are on a public portal, you cannot tally, and you ought to have known, if what you are telling us that you truly believed that it was your work to tally, verify each form and tally it yourselves. I would then want to believe that unless you abdicated your responsibility then as commissioners, you ought to have been tallying. Did you have an alternative tally that led to the assertions that were being said at Serena that the gap is too small? You do not agree with the results, and as has been said here by other people who are presented before us. Lastly, you are here, 2 of you, and Commissioner, I don't know whether Commissioner Cherera is out of the country or here. Commissioner Irene Masit says she's out of the country on security concerns, which have not been reported to the police other than to her advocate, Donald Kiporin. Maybe, I don't know if he runs a police station in his office. You are here yourselves. What level of security do you have? Do you have any security threats yourselves? Because as much as I saw you walking in confidently without not looking fearful at all. What is it that you have done that has not instilled fear in you and instilled to your two other colleagues? Or is it the question, with all due respect to Governor Cecily and Catherine, that the two are ladies and you are men? On a light note. Yes. Go ahead, Commissioner. Was that Masit? Commissioner Masit?
Yes. Yes, I want you to allow me to.
And I don't know why you didn't. Did you want us to see you, Commissioner?
I don't put a lot of time.
Commissioner, are you able to unmute your video icon so that we are able to see you, to be certain we are speaking to you?
Actually, I'm having challenge. It's my phone.
Okay.
I'm trying.
Okay, go ahead.
But
Go ahead.
Me, I'll do it after. When I'm through, I'll do it when the others are speaking so that you can see me.
Okay,
so that
go
I
ahead.
take
Go
time
ahead.
to open it.
Go ahead.
Okay. What I'm asking is to pause where I am. I need to go somewhere, so I want to finish and then I just follow because of anything. One, the issue of Kulia not announcing the 27th. Actually, when we had met and agreed at 10 a.m., that day 10 a.m., Kulia was to go and announce. So to say that he was to announce and then the fracas started, it's a lie. He should have announced before even the chairman could announce the results at 4 p.m. So the reason why he said he wanted to announce and the reason why he didn't announce, he knows the reason why, because he kept them personal and never announced. So he delayed, it was from 10 he was to announce, but he didn't do it. The reasons, I don't know. Two, somebody said, why were we left out in the tallying process? Actually, when we joined the commission, they called us green-ons. They started isolating us. We have plenary minutes on issues. One, it was on tender process, which we didn't agree. It's on record in plenary. Getting returning officers in consensus, they did alone. The three of them, they said we were green-ons. It's on record on plenary records in the commission and other issues. So it's not something which started in Bomas. It had been there, but we thought for the sake of the country, we needed to work together as a team. My threats were in two phases. My first threat was on to resign as a commissioner. And that one I did. But the second one, now, which made me run away, was to remove the case. Why am I having a case when all the others have resigned? And due to make it worse, you're spoiling for our province or our region or our community. So it's good to be on record. The second threat was to remove and do away with the case. So, and I could not do it. I could not, the tribunal, it is them who brought the tribunal. So if it is to withdraw the case, it's them to withdraw, not me. So that was the reason. Another thing somebody mentioned about Tuchu, that we are seeing with Tuchu. I want to deny that one, especially me personally, because Tuchu and Chupili took me to court. That time when I was appointed as a commissioner and said I was another ball. So how could I work with Tuchu when already I was having a case to be removed? So in that case, it is I cannot buy that one in. It is just it was just to tarnish some of us to show that we were with Asimil. So that one I cannot buy it in, whoever said it. The issue of ballot papers. One of the chairmen mentioned that we went to Greece and they want to know what happened. On my side, we went earlier with Nyangaya, with Kulia. And I want to be on record that when we were in Greece, we didn't even know that there were two ballot papers. Ballot paper 1 of 1 and ballot paper 1 of 2. And that's why we are saying we should open the servers, include even ballot boxes, because we don't know if all the ballot papers, the two sets, were used or not. Because when the issue came out, it was agreed in Bomas with all political parties that ballot paper 1 or 2 should not be used and should be kept. And ballot paper 1 or 1 only was to be used. So that's the issue which I discovered myself after the second group went, and then the political party said, how come we have 2 types of ballot papers? But we were to have only ballot 1 of 1. How ballot 1 of 2 came out, it was not discussed at the commission, and it is not even on plenary or on record. So that's another issue. When we open the ballot papers and do the auditing, that issue needs to come up. When Marchan said that we refused the tallying because the margin was too small, I want to say first, there were no results which had come out. The dispute was on the 100%. It was 100.001. We were saying in counties, how come results go beyond 100? And I want to say that every vote counts, even if it's 1 vote. So, even if that's why they say 50 plus 1, meaning even if 1 vote, it counts. So we should not say because the margin was so small that some votes should not count. And I want also to say, when we were announcing the results, we had a team, we had done elaborate, that's why we were working all together nicely. The returning officers were to come to the down of Bomas, sit with political parties agents and give us a summary to announce. So what we were announcing was summary. And that summary was to be taken to be typed and to be brought now, and each commissioner to check what they announced if it's matching with the typed work. But I want to tell this committee, the summaries went one way until today. We've not seen them. We've not seen what we announced, if it's matching what was typed. And while I was at the tribunal, we asked for those results, including from 34C. And it is on record and unanswered. Chebukati answered that all the results we pulled down because it was very expensive to maintain the system. So, one, we could not verify or check what was there because we were told the system had been removed and it was very expensive to maintain. And that one is even in the answered report of the Mutemile Tribunal. So the issue of somebody saying we should have gone round and also do our own research, it was not possible because 46,000 and everything you cannot do unless you have something, a paper and everything. The system, the process of the role of CEO, I want to say, this one also is in my case, the chairman wrote to have letters sealed specifically everyone. Me, I was taken out of the legal section, and the results, tallying and verifying at Bomas after announcing, the chairman put it in writing, it was Kulie and Marchan. So we have those letters, also it's in my case. So it was very clear when somebody says, why didn't you participate? We were given firm instructions in writing. Now, the issue of asylum, I want to say, as of now, I've not taken an asylum because I have a case in court. When you take an asylum, it means that you don't owe allegiance to that country you are dealing with. I'm on a visitor visa, and if issues are sorted out, I'll be coming home, and if not, because the case, until my case is over, I'll not come home. Because the issue now, which the problem I'm having threats, is to do with my case. So I'll seek to extend my visa until I see that case is done and finished. Finally, I want to thank the committee for giving me this opportunity to answer most of what has been said, but I believe my colleagues will do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Masit Cherera. Commissioner Cherera, your final. Commissioner Cherera. Yeah, she's
okay. Thank you, co-chairs, for this opportunity. Let me talk about procurement in IBC, about the ballot papers. Procurement is under the Secretariat, and by the time we were recruited in September 2021, most of the strategic material were already procured, meaning that they were already advertised and the process was way past. So we've had issues with the way things were done when we first arrived. And in our first plenary, we disagreed with the technology that was procured. And all of us said no. But this matter went to court, and then it was ruled that the procurement can proceed. My question to committee and even to the structure of IBC and the legal reforms that are going to be done. There is no avenue when the commissioners disagree, and especially when majority disagree, and there is no any other avenue, IBC being independent, to go and vet out for this matter to be agreed upon in an amicable manner, knowing that IBC is the referee, and referee needs to do things that are acceptable to each and everyone that is going to be participating in this thing. Many times in the commission, in the boardroom, we have differed in opinion, but for the sake of the country having an election in August the 9th, all these matters were quickly agreed upon and some put under the table so that we can have the election. As the commissioners, we have always had conflict. So this was not the first one, as was insinuated by the Supreme Court. It's only that there is no any other avenue. And I will propose something. In the future, can there be an ad hoc, can there be a neutral body that oversees IBC apart from JLAC? In that body should be like this bipartisan committee, so that things that the commissioners have already clashed about can be resolved, and then the commission moves ahead. The procurement of ballot papers was already done, and I will jog your minds back in July. I can't remember the specific date, but the newspapers in the country were all awash with news that ballot papers were coming from Uganda. And a honorable member was mentioned, whether it was data press or not. Funny enough, the night of that day, the chairman called me and said that tomorrow we are receiving our legit ballot papers from the airport. As the vice chair, I was shocked why this is happening, as if we didn't have a plan. Nonetheless, the next day, the chairman plus a few commissioners went to the airport to receive our ballot paper, and the rest remained because we had a function with Kenya Private Sector Alliance. That day, there was a clear departure of the commission not working together. But for the sake of the country, we stood and we told the country that everything is in order. It was just communication breakdown between the secretariat and the commissioners. That should not have happened in a civilized country like ours. That is something that breaks the trust, because if the secretariat will do something and they will not inform the commissioner, that is wrong. Let me submit to the committee that after that, the chairman proposed to the stakeholders that we will go to Greece to oversee the printing of the presidential ballot papers, because by then, papers had already started coming to the country. So the presidential ballot papers were the last in the schedule to be printed. So the stakeholders, I am a chair of the partners, so the stakeholders gave their names and we started the process of getting visa to Greece. The process took a little bit longer than expected. We had to get people intervene on behalf of the team. By the time we left the country to Greece, the presidential ballot papers were already printed, and were just doing the final bit of areas that had court cases that were slowly being concluded by the court. Say, for example, the Mombasa gubernatorial, that those were the last bits that were going to go into the printing. Our mandate was to check the presidential ballot papers and the printing of the same.
Cherera, sorry to cut you short.
Did the work.
Commissioner, sorry to cut you short.
Yes.
You said by the time you got to Greece, the presidential, all the other ballot papers by the time you left for Greece were here. But then you have mixed up yourself. You were talking about getting there and they were done, except cases in areas where there were cases like in Mombasa. But the presidential ballot paper is printed, one ballot paper for the entire country. It doesn't matter whether it's a case or not.
Yes, the ballot papers for presidential did have issues because remember we were printing the ballot papers for each voter for the whole country, and it is still the same, the content is the same for the whole country. So that one was already done.
Would you also probably talk about Smartmatic? Because when some of these materials were intercepted at the airport, it was then alleged that they were working for the commission. Were you guys aware?
No. That happened when we guys were in Greece, when the materials were intercepted by DCI at the airport. So the chairman and the few commissioners that were on the ground were handling that matter. But apparently, I also submit to the committee that the chairman was issuing press statements alone without consulting and bringing all the commissioners to speed on what was happening on the ground. So that was something else that another commissioner who was on the ground.
That was on the matter of smart. Commissioner.
Yeah,
that was on Smartmatic, the pronouncements by the chair. That's what the co-chair wants to establish.
Yeah, I want to establish the commission chair issued a statement on Smartmatic or whatever they are called without your involvement. But if we remember well, DCI is actually DCI. Are you aware what DCI did with that matter if they were actually not commission staff? Because it was actually in the news, and the commission indeed issued a statement. Do you know then what happened with DCI on that matter? If, as you aver, they were not working for the commission.
The Smartmatic materials that were held at the airport by the DCI, I said that time the team, me and Wanderi were in Greece. So the statements that were being issued were not commission statements. The chairman did them alone. Until we came back, and we sat together with the Inspector General of Police and the team, and they said that they have sorted the matter amicably, and we did a joint press conference together with them.
So when you came back, let me get it right. When you came back, you had a meeting with the IG, Inspector General of Police. Were you in that meeting? All of you were there. And why did you not question if you think or if you believed they were not working for the commission? You participated then in a meeting with the Inspector General of Police that said you had sorted out the issue.
This culture, security matters are very, they're not supposed to be conversed here, but what we did was we agreed with the DCI that this matter has been sorted because Smartmatic was the one procured to do the technology for elections. and we gave a joint statement after the back and forth statement from security and IBC. So that day we gave a joint statement entry that everything is under control. Smartmatic was working.
Yes. Oh, that's okay. I wanted a comment on the secretariat, the competence, because you said it's like you, the greenhorns. To quote one of you, I think it was Masit who talked about you being referred to as greenhorns. It looks like most of everything, literally, the commission work is all the secretariat. Did you have time to investigate the efficiency of the secretariat? It looks like the chairman was working with the secretariat to the exclusion of the rest of you.
Co-chair.
Yeah, I'd put that matter actually. I was hoping Wanderi was going to respond to it.
Yes, I will. You have time?
I can respond also.
Masit, you want to respond
I'm
before
saying,
Wanderi?
give us an
Yes,
opportunity also to explain
Yes,
something.
yes, indeed.
Because
Maybe because we had hoped that as the co-chairs that we'll finish with them, because you never know with technology, Smartmatic type could cut them off.
And
Give us
Co-chair,
time
we
also.
have maybe we.
Yes, Chair.
Cherera, if you have just a closing remark, then you allow us to deal with Nyangaya and Wanderi.
Yeah.
We have the Council of Governors who have been waiting.
Okay.
Okay, let me say something small because what has been asked about Secretariat and the Commission. One, I want to make a proposal that at IPC we should have a Commission Secretary and then a CEO. At IPC, Commission Secretary and the CEO is one and the same. And you know, in most organizations, Commission Secretary is a lawyer or somebody who has done law. So most of the runnings of IPC, it was Chebukati and Marcha. In fact, before anything comes to plenary, they had to have a meeting before a meeting. And the other commissioners. So that when they are coming, what they are coming to present to us are things which have already been decided. So as us to endorse, but we said, for the sake of this country, we knew we will lack time after elections. We said, let's focus on elections so that after elections, we can look at these issues with KLAC. But it never came to pass. So it's true, it's a one-man show of the chairman and the CEO, and the two other commissioners who are there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners Cherera and Masit. You could
Yeah.
listen.
Yes, Chair.
You could continue listen.
My final remarks.
Okay, in half a minute.
Okay, thank you, Chairs, the co-chairs on this committee. I want to submit to the committee that I was the vice chair and I was in the kitchen. Kindly, let's allow an in-depth closure to this matter, because only then the country can move forward. We wish to have a very independent and strong commission. If it is not for us, it will be for the generations to come. You asked whether I am in the country or out of the country. I am out of the country because of matters in security, being the vice chair and having taken a stand. I will not give details to this because it is very emotive, but if given a safe space, these things are going to come to light. Thank you.
Thank you.
We can then hear Wanderi. The issues that we have been canvassing, some of them have been dealt by your colleagues out there. You don't need to repeat, right? But